It would be one thing if it was 4 or 5 matches and they all kicked ass. I might be able to overlook the fact.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, if these shows were great, and I could fast forward all the filler and I'm getting 4 or 5 great matches, I would be about that. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Paul Levesque, classic NXT takeovers, had about 4 or 5 matches. Yeah, they were 2 hours, which helped. They were 2 hours, but still, some pressed up against 2.5, and I think some went near 3 as well. But you got at most 6 matches, usually between 4 and 5, really kick-ass matches. Every takeover.
Go listen to our reviews of those shows. That's a situation where less is more worked. Less is more worked when he was booking those peak NXT shows. This is shit. You're sitting there for 4 hours and you're getting 4 matches, and then none of them are any good, and they're boring. I didn't think they were bad. I'm going to disagree with you because I didn't think there were bad matches on the show necessarily.
I thought Nia and Rhea was bad. I know a lot of people disagree, and for some people that's a style of match that they like. I thought that match was bad. I thought Nia Jax doing 13 minutes of fucking terrible offense while Rhea Ripley screams, and then Rhea Ripley does a superplex and her move and then wins. I think that sucks.
Well, here's the thing. For a main event, that was a dreadful main event. Okay?
It's a main event of a show in front of 60, 70,000 people or whatever. It's fucking... Yeah. That's disrespectful to have that as your main event, even with Rhea.
60, 70,000. You working for the company now, Mr. PR?
Hey, that's what...
So Paul told you?
That's what Paul told me. You tell me. Are you telling me Paul Levesque's lying? Are you telling me?
I'm not going to knock a show with 40,000 people, but half that building was empty and tarped off, my man. There was not 60,000 people.
A lot of space on that floor. A lot of space on that floor. I'll say. Look, the best part about it is they lied about their attendance, and they're still like 10,000 away from like even the closest sports.
Right.
They're way far away from some of the top rugby and Australian football things that have been there. But yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason they were giving you not full wide shots and only like a quarter of the building with the wide shot. They got paid to be there, and 40,000 people paid to attend. It's impossible to knock that. But from the standpoint of, do I think this was like a massive success from that standpoint for a stadium show? Not really. They hadn't been there in forever. But I'm sure the gate was in the millions, so it's like that's why you can't go crazy criticizing it. But plus whatever the fucking Perth paid them. But yeah, Ripley Nia Jax, to me, this is how I'll describe it. Tell me if you disagree. First of all, I think it was like essentially an hour 2 Raw match. That's number one.
Correct.
It wasn't befitting of the main event of a pay-per-view in front of 40,000 people. What it was is, do you remember before Bad Luck Fale got fat and stopped caring, how once or twice a year he would wrestle Tanahashi or Okada as a roadblock to something bigger and better, and they would have a nice little 3.5-star match, and we'd come on here and be like, that's pretty good, a nice little 3.5-star match. Fale, threw his weight around, and it was pretty okay. This was like a lesser version of that, of like a peak Bad Luck Fale versus Kazuchika Okada match. As Okada's gearing up for a title shot or something, and he has to go through Fale first.
Yeah, I think you're underselling the Okada Fale matches with that comparison.
You think they were better than what I'm saying?
Very much better, yes.
Yeah, 3.5's not. Did I go 4 on any of them? Maybe, I don't remember.
I seem to remember you liking those matches a lot. Those are good.
I just said I liked them.
Yeah, those are good.
I liked them. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Before Fale got fat and unmotivated, he would have good matches in those spots with people like Okada and Tanahashi. And I think that was this formula, but Nia Jax isn't as good as Bad Luck Fale was in 2015.
Nor is Rhea Ripley as good as Kazuchika Okada.
Well, obviously not. But it's like, that was like what this was. And to me, that's a mid-card match. It's not a main event. And I think it's kind of insulting to give these people who haven't had a show and give them this big stadium show and main event it with Nia Jax, who's never going to be good enough to be a main event wrestler. She's good enough to have a 2 3/4-star match, which is what this was. That should be in the middle of the card somewhere, where if you want to beat down the babyface and have this style of match, and then have the babyface make a boilerplate, boring ass comeback and win in the end, that's fine. That's a nice little match and a nice little story, and it's really all Nia Jax is capable of.
Right.
To be honest,
yeah, she's not very good,
and that's what you should do with her, and that's perfect usage of Nia Jax. Okay, And I think a lot of people are going crazy with the Nia Jax praise. I mean, let's pump the fucking brakes.
I can't believe we're doing this. I can't believe we're doing Nia Jax is good, actually.
And this isn't just from the WWE
No, I
weirdos. It's like other people. This is a nice little 3-star match.
We can't do this. We can't do this.
Like, I thought it was a nice little 3-star match. This was not a quality pay-per-view main event. Stop it. The table spot looked like shit.
Oh, fucking
the table didn't even
horrific,
break.
Yeah.
You know, and then there were other spots in the course of the match that were a little fucking awkward. I don't think it was a bad match. Rich, you may have. I thought it was like a 3-star match. But that's not what I want out of a main event of a major stadium pay-per-view like this. So that, from that standpoint, is where I have a, I guess, quote-unquote problem with it, and it's absolutely being overhyped. But to be fair, you know, on Cage Match, where they tend to be very much into WWE right now, it doesn't have that great of a rating. Let me go look at that right now and see where it's at. It was...
I thought it was somewhere in the low sevens. I thought it was somewhere in the low sevens last time I saw.
6.5.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not that. It's not that great. That's like a 3.25 star. That's 3.25. That's a quarter star higher than me. I don't think 6.5 is an outrageous rating.
I could live with that. Yeah, that one's fine. I think that your viewing experience of the show is going to change a lot depending on where you sitting there live watching all this happen at whatever time. I mean, I'm not qualifying it by whatever time of the day, because I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, I watch AEW. I'm from the UK and I watch AEW pay-per-views at this time." I'm just saying, like, sitting down and watching this thing at 5 a.m. and them spending 55 minutes of Australian tourism videos and video packages for It's Bailey and the Grayson Waller effect and all this sort of, like, if you skip the entrances and all the bullshit, I could see you enjoying the show at least to some level, but having to wait all this time between matches and then getting matches that I thought were pretty damn boring, like you said, very boring show, that's what infuriated me. The fact that I'm sitting here watching 35 minutes of video packages and then I get a boring match. And then there's 35 minutes of video packages and then I get a boring match. And then there's 55 minutes of bullshit, including some dumb talking segment that accomplishes nothing, and then I get a boring match. And then there's 35 minutes of video packages and then I get a boring match and then it's over. That's not an enjoyable show for me. So I'm going to call it like I see it. That's a fucking that's a disgraceful show to air on Peacock Live, and it's a disgraceful show. It's you know what I mean, like, and it's just the Australia. How many times are you gonna tell me that Western Australia has wine and rocks and beaches? I get it, I got it. I know they paid for it. The deal, unfortunately. I know they paid for it, but you know what? Then I don't need two Let's Explain the Elimination Chamber to you fucking dumbasses videos on the same show. But I got two Let's Exchange. Let's explain what the Elimination Chamber is to you fucking goldfish on the same show. They did it at the beginning, and then the second match started. They went, dun, 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 the Elimination Chamber begins. And I'm like, fuck off. We just saw the match an hour ago. Like, you don't have to do this. We don't need the do. The Elimination Chamber is one of the most dangerous matches in WWE history. It's like, I know, I just saw one. And it wasn't dangerous, by the way. It wasn't dangerous at all. Everyone's fine.
They have to stop calling it dangerous. Elimination Chambers haven't been dangerous in a long time, and they don't do blood in this company.
No, it's like, you come in, but you'll never walk out. Liv Morgan's in her 7th Elimination Chamber. It's like, oh, fuck off. Screw this.
They oversell it. It hasn't been it may have been worked in a dangerous manner in the earliest days by this company standard, but it's all padded and it's just,
I also have no affinity for the Elimination Chamber, and I mentioned that in my review as well. Is like, I know that there's some people that really, really like Elimination Chambers, and I think it might be when you became a wrestling fan or whatever. And I like Royal Rumbles a lot more. There's a lot of people who think Royal Rumbles suck, and I'm always like, no, I think Royal Rumbles are good. Now, this year's was fucking terrible, but most Royal Rumbles I do like, but I have no affinity for an Elimination Chamber match. So, like, I find them bad. I really do, because it's like nothing happens. People just kind of exchange, like, you know, back when they were bleeding and that sort of stuff, then I could buy it a little bit. But now it's like a bunch of random people have been put into these pods. Two random people start a match and start punching each other for a couple of minutes, and then the music goes dun 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 dun, and then someone's pod lights up, and then they run in and they exchange punches for a little bit, and then eventually people start throwing each other into the plexiglass, and we start talking about the plexiglass, And then the music comes on. They go doon 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 doon. And someone's pod. They suck. They're not very good, and then nothing's happening.
How dangerous the rubber chains are. On the
right. It's just like people throwing each other into plexiglass, people slightly throwing each other into chains, and then people bumping on padded, quote unquote, steel.
Nah, look, the matches were but look, the men's one was very boring.
I thought the men's one was way worse than the women's one. Way worse.
The women's match was better. It was probably the best match on the show. The men's chamber match was dreadfully boring. That's one of those boring matches. It's just nothing. nothing happened. And then a garbage finish with AJ Styles. It's a cage, and AJ Styles gets into the cage. Just so overbooked.
Fuck this.
Overbooked. Defeating the purpose. Telling stories. The bad stories that this company tells.